Hello, everyone. Welcome to my Monday live stream. Normally, I do live streams on Friday, but I've just been very busy lately, so we're getting more live streams than usual because they're just easier and faster to produce. Today, I want to talk about Duolingo, and this was brought on specifically because I had some experiences last night with Duolingo that I need to get off my chest. So I guess I'll start off by saying I don't hate Duolingo. Duolingo has some good qualities. There's a lot of good things to be said about basically every language app or language learning system out there. You just have to find what the good is and find if the good outweighs the bad. And there are some definite positive things to be said about Duolingo. Just a minute. First and foremost, it's free. So, that makes it not better, but that gives it an advantage over every other language learning system out there, basically. There's a lot of other programs where you can use them for free, but you have to pay for a premium subscription or something like that. Or if you want to use it for more than a week, then you have to pay for it. And they're usually very limited. Like the link free version, I don't know what you call it, the basic version, the not premium version of Link completely sucks. And I love Link. I think Link is great, but the free version sucks. And it's just a waste of time. Not so for Duolingo. Duolingo, you can use it for free forever and basically get all the benefits out of it. I think there's like a paid version or something on your phone so that you can like avoid ads or something, but I don't care. I'll just take the ads. Anyways, this video is not why I like Duolingo. It's what I don't like about Duolingo. And I don't like it that much. Like I said, I've already said there are some good things about it. There's some good things about every program. I'm not a huge fan of Duolingo. There's a way to use it for a while. You can use it at first. When you first start learning a language, there's some use to it. But I grew out of it really quick. And I know there's a lot of people out there who like kind of measure their language learning against how far they've come on Duolingo. And that's not a good measurement, not in my opinion. There's just so much wrong with that. So the reason this came on is because it's kind of a long story, actually. So last week, I live in Wisconsin. Last week, you might have heard about this in the news. I had people in China actually sending me messages over Twitter saying, "I hope you're all right, man." So last week we had a very cold week. We got a ton of snow on Monday and Tuesday, and then on Wednesday it got down to like -25 or something Fahrenheit. So I don't even know what that is Celsius, probably -35 Celsius or something. And then that's without the wind chill. It got to like below -50 if you're including the wind chill, the way that it felt. So it was brutal. And my classes were canceled. I go to UW Milwaukee. I did go to UW Parkside for 1 year. University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee. And my classes were canceled. So all of this is a very long story to say that my French teacher emailed us And she said, since we're not having class today, I need you to spend 75 minutes. Our classes are 75 minutes long. So she said, I need you to spend 75 minutes practicing French in some other way. And then she gave a list of a few different ways. She sent us like a video that we could watch, or there was like a few different websites. And one of the websites that she sent us was Duolingo. And I already have a lot of experience with Duolingo, but I thought, whatever. I'll do Duolingo for 75 minutes, or for, some portion. I'll do it for 25 minutes. And just that'll be my class. It's easier than driving all the way up to school. So I pulled up Duolingo. And apparently I hadn't used Duolingo with French before. I never realized that. But, I used it with Esperanto and Spanish, and I did a few German courses on it last month, Portuguese. But I hadn't made any progress in the French course, or if I had, then I must have deleted it at some point. So I opened up the French course, and it starts you off at the very beginning, right? Bonjour, un homme, une femme. Of course, I don't want to do that. That's just a waste of my time if I'm just going to be going through the very first, most basic lesson in Duolingo. So I go straight to the placement test. And, I'm not C2 in French, but I can speak it. Right? I can hold conversations. I lived in France for a month. I go to Quebec all the time, and I can hold full conversations in French. I talk to people in French online. I listen to French music all the time. I can understand what's going on. I can listen to French podcasts or watch French YouTube videos and understand what's going on. But let me tell you, I tried doing this placement test on Duolingo, and I sucked. Right? And it's not because my French isn't good. It's because Duolingo tests you on the stuff that's not important. Okay, so the question is, if they give you la femme mange une pomme, and then I write the woman eats the apple, you got it wrong, because it's not the apple, it's an apple. The woman eats an apple. So it's wrong, and it's not just a little bit wrong. The whole thing is wrong. You get the whole sentence wrong. And that's really frustrating, because everybody knows that in real life situations, they're going to understand exactly what you meant if you say the lady ate the apple instead of the lady ate an apple, right? It's not wrong. Maybe you didn't get your grammar perfectly correct in the way that you meant to say it, but they're going to understand what you meant. There's no barrier to communication whatsoever, right? And you don't even stop to think about it. You just keep going on with your conversation, and you continue communicating, and you continue talking about stuff that's important rather than which article to use, right? Also, when I started learning French, it wasn't in class. It was with people, right? I would travel to Quebec and I would practice with people, or I would look up people on Hello Talk or on Interpals, and I would practice French with them, okay? Over Skype or something. It doesn't teach you how to learn spelling if you're just talking to people. Ecolinguist says, I feel you, brother. I've had the same experience with Duolingo recently. Yeah, it's the struggle is real, man. Angela says, I prefer Duolingo's desktop version because there are explanations to the grammar rules. Yeah, like I said, there are, there's value to Duolingo, especially if you're learning from the very beginning and you need those grammar rules. I'm not hating on Duolingo completely. But for me, especially in French, it's just not useful. It's just not. It's a waste of my time. It was really frustrating The other thing that I got really mad at is when I was taking these placement tests, I was trying to rush through it just to get past the very basics because I don't want to spend my time on the basic crap. They would give me this test where it would say like, it would give you an audio recording and it would say La femme mange une pomme. And then I would type, or I'll use a different example because I used that example earlier. There would be an example that says Le chien est bon. And then I would type in the dog is good because that's what it means in French. Apparently, I didn't pay close enough attention because I wasn't supposed to type in the dog is good. I was supposed to type in le chien est bon. I was supposed to type in whatever they said in French because it was an auditory test rather than a translation test. And then I would get the question wrong, even though I typed in exactly what it meant in English. I understood what they were saying. I just typed it in English rather than in French. So that was really frustrating as well. And then, oh yeah, as I was saying, speaking with people over Skype, going to Quebec and practicing my French with different people, great way of learning the language. It's really going to help you learn to communicate. It's not going to help you with your spelling that much. So my ability to spell French was a little bit stunted, but I'm okay with that because in general, when I'm going to be speaking with people in French, I don't care about the spelling. Okay. I don't care if the word ends with a T or an S or a P because they're all pronounced the same way if it's at the end of the word, which is to say, not pronounced at all. But Duolingo cares. They care about the little details that aren't important. Okay. And maybe I'll give it a little bit of nuance and say maybe those small details are important for people who are just using Duolingo to try to get through their classes or to try to help them do better on their Spanish test or their French tests. So I can see that, but that's not me. I'm not using Duolingo because I need to get better at getting good grades. I already have good grades. I have a 4.0 GPA. I'm using Duolingo because I want to be able to communicate with people, right? And my ability to communicate with someone in French is not dependent upon whether or not there's an E at the end of the word. But to Duolingo, that's important. So if you don't put that E there and it was supposed to be there, or if you put the E and it was not supposed to be there, then you're wrong. And you get the whole question wrong. It could be a 15-word sentence, but you forgot the E in one of the words, and that's wrong. And you don't get to progress to the level that you deserve to be at. You got to go back to the beginning again. I don't know if you guys can tell, I have a little bit of pent-up aggression. All right, Michael said, after you end up with your story, could you please say, is it true that Esperanto is exactly that language that you could learn entirely by using just Duolingo? You can't learn any language by just using Duolingo. Okay, I will say that Esperanto is probably the language that you can get the farthest on using Duolingo. The Duolingo course for Esperanto is actually very good. Chuck Smith did a great job with that course. But if you only use Duolingo as your source of learning, just ain't gonna work. You gotta do other stuff. You gotta watch Evil Dia on YouTube. You gotta go to learnu.net and do the different activities. You gotta use Amikumu and find other Esperanto speakers and interact with them. Oban says, oh no, what did I miss? You didn't miss much. I was ranting about how anal Duolingo gets when you miss a certain letter or when you use the wrong article. You use you use le instead of un, or you use el instead of un. Um, and it's not like you didn't understand what the sentence meant. You did. You just typed in the wrong thing, or you read it too quick and then kind of made the assumption. Uh, because in real life, when you're using language, you're not actually analyzing every word, right? It's like, what is that? You guys have probably seen where it would be like a letter or a text written out, and all the words are spelt wrong. They like have the letters all mixed up, but you can still read every word, even though the letters are all in the wrong order. As long as the first and the last letter are in the right spot, and then all the middle letters are mixed up, you can still read it, right? Because when you're in real life going through, reading something or having a conversation with someone, you're not actually paying attention to all the little details. Your brain is really good at making sense of everything, even if it's not perfect. And that's the same thing with language learning, right? Someone says they, I don't know, they use the rather than or an, and you don't even notice it. You don't even notice it. I don't know if you guys have ever, maybe you've noticed this phenomenon in the past. You have a non-native speaker of your native language that you're friends with on Facebook or something, and you speak to them in real life, and their English is great, or their French, or whatever your native language is. They speak just fine. You don't even notice an accent or anything until you see them write on Facebook, and then the grammar errors and stuff start to become a little bit more salient, and you still understand everything that they're saying. It's not an impediment to comprehension. It's just you notice it now. You notice the little errors. You notice the missing article or the wrong preposition or something, and they're actually making all those same mistakes when they're speaking to you in real life too. Uh, their grammar isn't better when they're speaking. If anything, their grammar is actually probably better when they're typing it out, because they have a few extra seconds to think out what they're going to say or how they're going to type what they're typing. The difference is that it just goes right over your head when you're in a conversation, because in real life, that's how we talk. We're sloppy. We don't talk good. We run our words together and we get lazy and we don't pronunciate everything right. What do we got here? Oban says, "Oh yeah, I hate that too. I used to study Spanish, and you get the answer wrong if you don't write the United States. Yeah, it's a pain, right? Like if you well, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So in order to be correct, you do need to say the United States, right? Like, it's not right to say I'm going to United States or I live in United States. You have to write I live in the United States. Okay. In order to be correct and grammatically impeccable. But no one cares if you speak that way or not. I'm not gonna like, if you tell me you're going on vacation to United States, I'm not gonna say, well, which United States? Right? Because first of all, there's only one country that I know of called United States. I'm not gonna think, well, are you going to the United States of Mexico? I don't know. I have no idea. Right? It's perfectly clear what you meant, even though you left out the article. C. Caleb says, I'm from Brazil and I've been practicing my English with your videos. Awesome. Glad to hear that I can help with English as well as just general language learning information. Is Memrise better than Duolingo? No, it's not. I use it more than Duolingo. I don't know. Are pens better than pencils? Right? Like, I don't know. Are markers better than paintbrushes? You use them for different things, right? You use Memrise for learning vocabulary, and then you use Duolingo for other stuff. Duolingo has they have a great social networking component to them, where you can go on and any of the sentences and leave comments and ask questions, and other people will come answer your questions. It's great for when you're trying to learn the language and you need you just need someone to ask questions to, and you're trying to clarify some of the different grammatical points and stuff. That's one thing that Duolingo has really well that Memrise lacks in my opinion. As Steve Kaufman said, enjoy the process. Man, I feel like I just sounded like him when I said that. Enjoy the process. That was weird. I'm turning into Steve Kaufman. That would be okay. How is your Thai learning going? It's not. I'm not learning Thai. I might start at some point in this year, but no, I haven't learned any Thai whatsoever, other than what the crap, or something that sounds like what the crap in some way. I learned that word last year. I think it means hello or how are you? Some kind of greeting. You say what the crap to people in Thai? I don't know. Okay, Ecolinguist says, I think my English gives worse impression in writing. For that reason, I started using Grammarly. I'm not a native. Yeah. Yep. I think that's just a matter of what's more noticeable, right? Like, you can have one-on-one conversations with people in person, and they'll never notice your grammar mistakes. But as soon as you start typing it out, they're able to look at it and see it, and then they notice all your mistakes, right? So I don't know. It's just one of those things. Pens are for people who are sure they won't make mistakes, right? Well, there's sometimes you need a pen, because if you're using a pencil and a notebook, and then you put the pages together, and they kind of I don't know, bleed or fade into one another, and sometimes you're not going to sign your signature with a pen. There's uses for pens. There's uses for pencils. You don't want to do algebra in pen. There's uses for Duolingo. There's uses for Memrise. There's uses for Link. There's uses for HelloTalk and lyrics training and Drop. Drop is one that I've been using the past week or so. I'm not thrilled by it. Do you guys know what Drop is? I think this must be a newer thing, because I never really saw it before a few weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago. Drops. That's what it's called. Drops. It's it's okay. I spent like $30 on a year-long subscription, and is it better than Memrise? They're very similar in a lot of ways. Drop has some cool aspects to it, like here. See, they don't use English translations, or you can get a translation of the word by clicking at it, I think. So prison break. L'évasion de la prison. L'évasion de la prison. So because they use pictures rather than your native language, you're not translating in your head, and that's cool, I think. I think I might be too advanced in French for this to really be interesting to me. So maybe when I start learning Thai, I'll use that, and then I'll be able to get a better opinion of how Drops works. Basically, I just wanted to try it out because I had been seeing it on Instagram and stuff, and I thought, oh, that's the new trendy language learning platform. We'll see. I'll get a better opinion of it once I start using it to learn a language that I don't already speak. Which resources do you use for listening? Do you think the new Duolingo podcast is good quality material? I haven't used any of the Duolingo podcasts yet. Like I said, Duolingo is not my favorite resource, so I don't use it very often. Last night was the first time in months that I had done any Duolingo, other than when I was doing my German 12-hour study thing. Don't Tread on Me says, opinion time, Duolingo sucks at teaching vocabulary. Yeah, it's not designed as a vocabulary thing. Drops is designed to teach you vocabulary. Anki, Memrise, they're designed to teach you vocabulary. Duolingo is designed more to be kind of an all-encompassing type platform. And I mean, they do teach you vocabulary, right? You learn vocabulary on Duolingo. I owe a lot to Duolingo for helping me learn Esperanto, because at the time I was not aware of the best practices to use when learning a language. That, and there's not a ton of resources out there. There's not a ton of apps that teach you Esperanto. So I am very grateful to Duolingo for getting me started in Esperanto, giving me that push out the door, because otherwise I probably wouldn't have started learning if it hadn't been for them. So, you know, positives and negatives. There's the good and the bad. Got to take them both. I'm not really into all these language learning applications because they seem kind of boring. Oh yeah, that brings me back to something I was gonna talk about. So last night I downloaded this app called Vanido. I don't know how to pronounce that. Vanido. It's an app for improving your singing. I'm a musician, so I thought I'd try it out. It's kind of like Duolingo for singers, in a weird way, kind of. I wasn't super impressed with the app, but I did find this review just because happened to be looking at it. I found there was just some, I don't even remember what website this was from. I think it might have been from mentalfloss.com or something. And they were talking about these self-learning apps that are designed to teach you a certain skill, some skill or another. They were talking about, they actually brought up Duolingo for learning languages, Vanido for learning, I don't know how to pronounce that, Vanido for learning singing. Then they brought up like Fender Play or UltimateGuitar.com for learning to play guitar. And then they said, yeah, while they can be fun, can these apps really teach you how to sing, how to learn a new language, or how to play guitar? The answer, according to Victor Lee, a professor of instructional technology and learning sciences at Utah State University, is that it depends. It depends on how well the content is presented and how much the user interacts with the app. And when they are successful, learning experts say this is because they're designed for a specific audience, self-motivated or novice learners. Learning via app has worked for Brandon Elam, 38, a self-described do-it-yourself type, who wanted to be able to listen to songs on the radio and then pick up the guitar and play songs by ear. Elam first tried learning from a book that didn't work for him. Since July, he has been using the apps Justin Guitar and Ultimate Guitar's Tab Pro every day, and he says that he can see himself improve over the months. While highly motivated people tend to gain the most, as Lee points out, most of us are not all that motivated. An ongoing issue these apps face is figuring out how to keep people compelled to continue using them. And, Duolingo, to their credit, has come up with some strategies for keeping you to use their apps, they give you these streaks, and then you go 30 days or 60 days or 100 days, and you don't want to break your streak, right? So they do what they can to keep you motivated. But in the end, it's not about the app. It's about how motivated you already are to learn the language, right? Because if you're not motivated to learn the language, there's nothing Duolingo can do to make you learn it. And if you are motivated to learn the language, whether or not you use Duolingo isn't going to be the deciding factor. You're going to learn it. You're going to improve over time because you're going to be doing stuff constantly. Maybe you're using Duolingo, maybe you're not. I feel like it's all about how much learning is gamified. If it's too gamified, the app is going to be too ineffective. If it's not gamified enough, the app can become boring and monotonous. Michael says, oh, you are playing the guitar? We will see in the near future your cover of pop songs. No, I don't post videos on my language channel. On occasion, I'll record fun or silly videos or something, but I don't usually post those. So that's all I got for you guys today. Duolingo has its uses, but it's frustrating as crap. And I should probably look into some of these new functions that they've been coming out, because I know they've been improving. They've been adding new things like different stories and podcasts and stuff. So maybe I should go ahead and check those out before passing too much judgment on them. But I know for sure, as far as like the core of their platform, doesn't do it for me. Not anymore, anyways. At the very beginning of learning languages, when I first started learning Esperanto, it does give you that framework that helps push you forward in a systematic way. And it's useful, but boy, is it just frustrating. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in my live stream on Friday. Don't forget about 30-day Record Yourself Challenge starting this Wednesday. And I'll see